There's something your dog does every single day, something so normal, so routine that you've probably never questioned it. Maybe it happens in the morning, or late at night. Maybe it's so subtle you barely even notice anymore. But what if that one small behavior is actually a signal? Not just a habit, not just a dog being a dog, but a quiet warning. And the strange part is, your dog isn't hiding it from you. They're showing you over and over again. You're just not seeing it. And once you do, you won't be able to unsee it. But to understand this, we need to slow down and look closer than most people ever do. Because what your dog is really trying to say doesn't sound like words. It looks like something else entirely. And most owners get it wrong. They assume their dog is fine, happy, relaxed, normal. Because on the surface, everything seems okay. The tail still moves. The eyes still follow you. They still eat, still walk, still sleep beside you. So nothing's wrong, right? But here's what most people miss. Dogs don't communicate problems the way humans do. They don't complain loudly. They don't suddenly switch from okay to not okay. Instead, they leak information in small, repeated patterns, behaviors that seem harmless until you understand what they actually mean. And one of the most overlooked signs is something your dog likely does every single day. Let's start with a moment you've definitely seen before. You're sitting quietly, maybe on your phone, maybe watching something, and your dog walks into the room. They pause. They look at you. Not excited. Not playful. Just watching. You might smile. Maybe say their name. Sometimes they come closer. Sometimes they just stand there. And eventually they leave. Most people think this means nothing. Maybe the dog is bored. Maybe they're just checking in. But here's the deeper layer. That moment, that stillness, that quiet observation, it's not random. It's evaluation. Your dog is reading you, your energy, your tone, your availability. But more importantly, they're trying to understand where they stand. Safe? Ignored? Welcome? Disconnected? And if this happens often without response, something shifts. Because from your dog's perspective, they reached out, and nothing came back. Now let's take it a step further. Think about when your dog follows you from room to room. Not in an excited way. Not running or wagging wildly. Just quietly trailing behind you. You go to the kitchen, they follow. You walk to another room, they follow again. They don't ask for anything. They just stay near. Most people call this loyalty or attachment. But sometimes it's neither. Sometimes it's uncertainty. Dogs are incredibly sensitive to emotional stability. They rely on consistency, predictability, subtle signals that tell them everything is okay. So when something feels off, even slightly, they move closer. Not because they want attention, but because they're trying to feel grounded again. And here's what most people miss. If your dog is doing this constantly, especially without relaxation, it may not be love. It may be low-level anxiety, not panic. Not fear, but a quiet, ongoing discomfort. The kind that builds slowly and hides in plain sight. And we'll come back to that, because the next behavior connects to it in a way most people never realize. Picture this. Your dog lies down, maybe near you, maybe across the room. But instead of fully relaxing, they stay alert. Their head lifts at small sounds. Their ears twitch constantly. Their eyes open and close, but never fully settle. To you, it looks like resting. But it's not. It's waiting. And waiting is not the same as relaxing. A truly relaxed dog lets go. Their body softens. Their breathing slows deeply. Their muscles release tension. But a dog that's on watch, even subtly, isn't resting. They're monitoring. And if this happens daily, it becomes their normal state. A kind of silent hyper-awareness. Not extreme enough to alarm you, but constant enough to affect them. And over time, it drains them. Emotionally, mentally. But here's where it gets even more misunderstood. Because sometimes this same dog will suddenly show affection. They'll come close, lean into you, rest their head on you, and you feel it instantly. That warmth, that connection, that love. And it's real. But what you might not realize is that this moment isn't just affection. It's relief. Your dog is using you as emotional regulation. Your presence, your calm, your energy, it helps them reset. But here's the hidden warning. If your dog needs you constantly to feel okay, it means they don't feel okay on their own. And that's not a flaw. It's a signal. One that most people miss because it feels like love. And in a way, it is. But it's also dependence. Now, let's look at something even smaller.
Something almost invisible. Your dog yawns. Not when they're tired, but randomly. During interactions. During eye contact. During moments that seem normal. Most people ignore it. Or assume it's nothing. But in dog psychology, this is called a calming signal. A way for your dog to reduce tension. Not always big tension. Sometimes just slight discomfort. Uncertainty. Pressure. And if your dog is yawning frequently, especially during engagement with you, it's not boredom. It's communication. A quiet way of saying, I'm trying to stay calm right now. And here's where it all connects. The watching. The following. The half-resting. The leaning. The yawning. Individually, they seem harmless. But together, they form a pattern. A pattern that says something deeper is happening. Not danger. Not emergency. But imbalance. And that imbalance usually comes from something subtle. Inconsistent routines. Unclear communication. Emotional unpredictability. Or sometimes, simply a lack of true rest. Dogs don't need constant activity. They don't need endless stimulation. But they do need clarity. They need to understand their environment. Their role. Their connection with you. And when that clarity fades, even slightly, these behaviors begin to appear. Softly. Repeatedly. Daily. But here's what makes this so important. These signs don't escalate quickly. They don't turn into obvious problems overnight. They linger. Quietly. Until one day, your dog seems different. More distant. More reactive. More tired. And it feels sudden. But it wasn't. It was building, all along. In the small moments you didn't notice. In the behaviors that seemed too normal to question. And this is why awareness matters. Not to create worry. Not to overanalyze every movement. But to see your dog more clearly. To understand that their world isn't made of words. It's made of signals. Energy. Patterns. And when you start noticing those patterns, something changes. Your responses shift. Your presence becomes more intentional. You create moments of calm, instead of just activity. Moments of connection, instead of just coexistence. And slowly, your dog feels it. That clarity. That stability. That quiet sense of safety they've been asking for, in their own way. And here's the part most people never talk about. When a dog truly feels safe, their behavior simplifies. They don't need to watch as much. They don't need to follow constantly. They don't need to self-soothe through yawning or tension. They just exist. Calmly. Fully. Comfortably. And once you see that difference, you realize something powerful. Your dog wasn't just doing random things. They were communicating. Every single day. In ways you were never taught to understand. But now, you see it. And once you see it, everything changes. Because it's no longer just behavior. It's a conversation. One that's been happening this whole time, quietly, patiently, waiting for you to finally listen. And what's even more fascinating, is that once you start listening differently, your dog begins to change how they speak. Not in a dramatic way. Not overnight. But in the smallest, most subtle shifts. That constant need to follow you from room to room slowly reduces. The way they scan your face for reassurance becomes less frequent. Even the restless half-sleep starts turning into deeper, heavier rest. Because the pressure they were carrying isn't being carried alone anymore. And here's something most people never connect. Dogs don't just respond to actions. They respond to emotional consistency. You can give them food, toys, walks, and still leave their inner world slightly unsettled. Or you can do something much simpler. Become predictable in your emotional presence. Not perfect. Not overly controlling. Just steady enough that their nervous system doesn't feel like it has to stay on alert. And when that happens, something quiet but powerful shifts. Your dog stops checking as much. Stops waiting for the next emotional change. Stops interpreting every silence as uncertainty. And instead, they begin to settle into the rhythm of your life. But here's the deeper truth behind all of this. Most of these warning signs were never meant to scare you. They were meant to guide you. Because your dog doesn't experience life in big dramatic moments like humans do. They experience it in patterns. In repetition. In emotional tone. And every day you live with them, you are shaping that pattern without even realizing it. The way you enter a room. The way you respond when they approach you. The way you sit still or stay distracted. It all becomes information to them. And they build their entire sense of safety from that information. So when we talk about missing the warning, it's not about a single dangerous moment. It's about missing the slow language of trust being built, or slowly stretched thin.